Negligent bosses could face up to 20 years in jail and or $16 million in fines over the suicide deaths of their workers under new workplace manslaughter laws proposed by the Victorian state government. The legislation covers deaths caused by mental injuries, including trauma from bullying or other forms of abuse sustained on the job, as well as accidents and illnesses caused by unsafe workplaces. If passed, it'll apply to employers in public and private companies whose negligence results in the death of an employee, whether it's due to a dangerous workplace or failing to provide appropriate mental support. For more, I'm now joined from Melbourne by Rebecca Casson, the CEO of industry group Master Builders Victoria. Welcome to you.
Thank you very much for having me this afternoon.
Firstly, will this proposed legislation motivate employers to promote a positive working environment for all of their employees?
Well, firstly, Kirsten, it's important to acknowledge that one workplace death is one too many. We acknowledge the Victorian government's mandate to introduce this legislation, but it has to be fair and equitable, and there's no reason to exclude employees from this legislation. And we don't think that it's worthwhile having a two-tier system that will not improve safety in the longer term.
Can you expand on that? What do you mean employees should also take responsibility?
Well, at the moment, under the current Act, both employers and employees are covered in the same way. However, this new legislation is proposing that only employers are going to be liable for the negligent actions of some of their employees, and also that they will not have that duty of care. So it's actually going to create a dual system.
Why shouldn't employers be held responsible if a negative workplace is a major contributing factor to an employee's suicide?
They absolutely should be held responsible, but so too should be employees held responsible if they too are found to be negligent as well. So you might have a system now where an employer running a small or a medium-sized business could go to jail for the negligent actions of their employee. That's the two-tier system that we're describing. There's no reason to exclude employees from this legislation. Safety is everyone's responsibility. Everyone, every workplace.
Do you think bosses could be more active in stamping out bullying?
Well, bullying is a very difficult aspect to this particular piece of legislation. We welcome any change in terms of bullying, but everyone has a responsibility. It's not just bosses, it's everyone. So the bully has to be held to account. Bosses have a role to play as well. So what we're saying is that all of those individuals should be held to account. If you're a boss, you should do the right thing. And if you're an employee, you should do the right thing. And anyone found to be doing the wrong thing should be held to account.
Victoria's Attorney General has acknowledged that the criminal standard of negligence will be very high for this particular test. Does that not satisfy your concerns?
Well, of course, we understand and we appreciate that, and we would like to see more evidence of that come through the parliamentary process. And we're hopeful that that standard will be high and will remain high through the process. But ultimately, our concern is that everybody should be judged equally before the law, and this law should apply equally to everyone. And as I've said, everyone should be responsible, and it should apply to everybody in every single workplace.
Were there consultations with industry before this was announced?
Yes, there were consultations, and Master Builders Victoria participated, sat around a task force with other industry representatives, as well as unions and family members as well. It was a very respectful process. However, it was a very difficult process as well, because some of our concerns were not listened to, and we do want to make sure that through the parliamentary process that everybody understands that workplace safety is everyone's responsibility.
I understand that some other companies do believe there could be unintended consequences as a result of this legislation if passed. Do you think so? And what would these unintended consequences be?
Well, if someone was considering setting up a business and was worried about going to jail for the criminal negligence in workplace safety of one of their employees, why would they worry? Why would they bother about doing that? And that's a real serious issue. We understand those people that are doing the right thing, the test could be high, but it might put people off as well. And so there are lots of unintended consequences. The statistics from the UK in terms of corporate manslaughter that we were told when we spoke around the task force table highlighted that 85% of the prosecutions were around small businesses because they didn't have the resources to defend themselves. And so whereas the larger businesses might have the opportunity to defend themselves, it could be the smaller businesses that the unintended consequences might affect. And you've also got other businesses as well, whether it's farmers or small construction businesses that don't have the resources to be able to defend themselves in a way in which other larger organisations might be able to.
Rebecca Casson from Master Builders in Victoria, thank you for explaining your organisation's point of view.
Thank you.
And if you need information or support, you can contact Beyond Blue on 1300 22 4636. Or if you or someone you know is experiencing distress, contact Lifeline on 13 11 14.